I'd rather be around people that have made really large mistakes.
Because they learn from you.
Yeah, and they're still working, they're still doing things, they're still growing. Like, they're almost like stronger beings in that sense of just like being experienced, right? I've taught myself how to write, I've taught myself how to direct, I'm doing a lot of mistakes along the way. Now I'm doing things and I'm so much stronger as a person through my experiences and the situations that I put myself in unknowing and making those mistakes. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Hey guys, JB here. The wolf is in the wolf den, and I have the best podcast today for you. I have a guest who's a friend of mine, someone I have tremendous respect for as a business person and entrepreneur, although you probably know them as a beautiful face starting on Vine, Instagram, YouTube, but this is not the ordinary person who's on these platforms. She's transcended this. All right. In other words, she's not just a person getting views. She's a really savvy business person, entrepreneur. Amanda Cerny, how are you?
I love that intro.
No,
Thank you.
honestly, that's why what always intrigued me about you is that there's so many people out there, and there's a lot of beautiful girls, handsome boys, or guys,
lots
right?
of those, yeah.
And they start off by, I guess they use that to get. And that's a good thing, I think, to get into engagement. They start building their profile. But there was something about you, and I'm not the only person who noticed it, but that separates you from the crowd in a massive way. So I really, honestly, we actually spoke on the same stage. You were invited to speak on a panel of female entrepreneurs, right? And I just think that's awesome. So what I want to talk about today is not all the stupid stuff about, like, how do you make pictures and make people. I want to look at the business side of the equation here in terms of, how I think you serve as a beacon for a lot of people who are in their 20s to actually be able to cross over and become, I don't want to use legit because it's not that they're illegitimate, but how do you actually have longevity in the whole business? So, all right, so let's just start off now. Just a very, very brief history of really kind of what your first big break was. And then once we get that, I want to really flip now to the transition of how you became who you are today, which is actually a legit entrepreneur that actually trains other entrepreneurs as well, right? You actually are gotten to the point where people come to you for advice. So let's start off at the beginning. How did it start? Just very quickly from the point where you started doing videos, and what was the first big break?
Yeah, so into business, you mean? Or just in general, online?
Online. How did it start? And then what was the first big thing online that took off?
Well, it wasn't really just like one thing that kind of launched everything. It was just a bunch of little things that I kept doing consistently. So for me, I wanted to do acting. That's why I came out to LA. And I was looking for manager and agency. I didn't really know the difference between the two. I was just like, I need those because everybody says I need those.
Right.
But when I went to meet with them, they were like, oh, you need a reel. And I was like, all right, how do I get a reel?
It's a catch-22.
Yeah, it's like, what comes first? So then I started making my own content, and one of my friends did YouTube videos. I was like, hey, anytime you need somebody for YouTube videos, let me know. And so I'd be in some YouTube videos just trying to build my reel. And at the same time, this new app called Vine came out. I was like, oh, that's a cool platform that I can start making my own content on, because I have no idea how to edit. I have no idea how to direct. I have no idea how to write. This is all new to me.
And what year is this down?
This is 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, ish.
Okay.
Bad with dates. But so I started doing that, and I started making these little videos. Like, first one's horrible. Started posting like ones every day just to play around with it. And then I started getting some views on the app, and I was like, oh, okay, like this is something. I got 1,000 views. That's cool. And then I kept on doing it because it became addicting to do. I'm just like, all right, like let's see how many more views I can get on this, because this is something, right? And then as I was doing it, I started to get 1 million views, and then 2 million views. I started meeting people seeing people who were on the popular page. They had a popular page on Vine. That's how old it was for social media, because even their algorithms fully supported if you were getting a certain amount of views, because it was newer algorithms on the platform. So you had a lot more leverage to reach your entire audience. So I started doing collaborations, and seeing that collaborations really helped grow me as well, of just working with people who also had large followings on the platform, and then we would cross our audiences over. I was like, all right, this is cool, but I'm doing this a lot, like these 6-second videos. I want to be on other platforms too, because I can't really build a whole reel out of 6 second
6 second videos.
clips.
Give me an example of
Yeah.
like a 6 second video. Because I
Yeah.
wasn't like I was around, but I didn't really know about Vine. Wasn't my sweet spot.
It's just internet content, right? So, and it's a lot of relatable content that's just over
Give me an
exaggerated.
example of like one of your best, most successful Vine. And you're
So,
giggling at yourself at this point when you look back,
yeah,
right?
because they're so ridiculous, and you guys are gonna be like, really? But it worked. So one would be me, and say I have the door closed and I'm in the bathroom making like sexual noises in the bathroom, right? And then my boyfriend now, who was my friend then, would open the door and then see me using a Q-tip in my ear. So it's just like the relatability of how good a Q-tip feels, right? So it keeps it innocent, but like leads you in with something, right? And then it has the punch of the Q-tip. So
Got it.
6 seconds,
Got
really
it.
quick.
I mean, you all know about how good a Q-tip can be.
It feels so good after a shower. I mean, come on. So that type of content, all variety, a lot of me making fun of myself too, because, you know, being a model first.
Self-deprecating humor.
Yeah, just because it makes me relate to people more, you know? And doing sexy content and stuff online all the time, like that's only going to get you so far.
Right.
And
it's
yeah,
also kind of cheesy after a while,
yeah,
right?
it is, and it's boring, and it's like okay, you're hot, you're born with like good looks if you are, you know, or you're decent looking, or like you have a one up in some way, you're female and you have big boobs, like
Right.
great. But it's like only gonna get you so far, and for brand deals too, like good luck finding brand deals that are going to support your career. Also, you have a one up in life, like sure, like you have an asset, right? And then you want to leverage that on and on. That's only like it only goes so far. You need to have layers to you and actual
Sure.
talents to you and things that you can do, whether it's producing, whether it's directing, like yeah.
All right, guys, Vincero watches, one of my favorites, guys. You know I love these watches, right? Every man needs to have a watch that feels good on their wrist, that reeks of success. The right watch can make you feel like a better man. It just gets like a suit in that regard, right? And let me tell you, the quality of this watch, the way it feels on your wrist, the weight of it all, the construction, keeps perfect time. All right. You can't get a more accurate watch because nowadays all the fine watches keep perfect time. So it's not just that, but this watch, you know how much this costs? You wouldn't believe it, all right? It should be a $10,000 watch. It's a few $100s at most. They have watches for as little as I think 150, 60 bucks to at most a few $100s. They've cracked the code on making gorgeous men's watches that literally reek of wealth and success. There's unlimited number. I mean, so many styles. It's shocking. They have 16,000 5-star reviews. That's pretty damn impressive, right? Anyway, listen, please do me a favor. I'm not going to ask you to buy 10 watches. Just try one. And tell me how awesome it is. 'Cause it's awesome. It just is. I'm telling you. I would not say it if it wasn't true. If you got this watch and you think it was overpriced and didn't love it, go yell at me on my website. I'm confident to say that. Okay. So here's the deal, guys. Check it out. Let me give you the particulars. Okay. You go to VinceroWatches.com. They're going to give you an additional 15% off. Use the promo code WOLF. That's VinceroWatches.com. Promo code WOLF. I promise you that once you own one of these, it's not going to be the last Vincero watch you own. You'll want to buy 3 or 4 more. All right, guys, ready for this? Could be for girls too, by the way, but it's enclosed. The best lingerie out there on the market. Guys, get this for your girlfriend or your wife, or your partner for the holiday season. Why try to figure out some gift to get when you could just get her beautiful lingerie, which you can then enjoy too? It's the gift that keeps on giving. This company actually really has cracked the code for buying lingerie online. You have a price size guarantee. You have a size guarantee, so meaning if it doesn't fit right, they'll exchange it. Just tell them the kind of look and style to help you find the perfect gift. They have multi-month gifts, so you keep getting coupons each month for special discounts. Great deal. Pricing's great. The quality is amazing. This stuff is gorgeous. All right. So what I want you to do now is go to this website. It's getinclothes.com to get started. Okay, we got a special offer for you right now. $35 off by entering the promo code WOLF. That's $35 off on any multi-month gift. Huge discount there, right? So again, go to getinclothes.com to get started. They have awesome stuff. It's gorgeous. Looks great on, I don't wear it myself, but when I see it on a woman, it is amazing. Check it out.
So for me, I actually started in when I was at Florida State. I'm backtracking now away from the social media stuff.
No, please.
But when I was at Florida State, I think I'm just I'm just a normal girl, right? And I'm at Florida State, and at the time, two of my friends were like, "Oh, you should be a Playmate centerfold." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm in college. I'm doing really well in college. Gonna end up being in the CIA or something, because." My mom.
Ooh, you'd be a good CIA agent, eh?
It'd be fun. So I think, but the reality of it, right? I watched too many.
It's not
movies.
like James Bond.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. You're in some foxhole somewhere, like.
Yeah, I know. But so when I was at college, I was like, and I've always been spontaneous. Like my parents had me pay for everything growing up, college, my car, my phone, everything. So I'm used to working.
Being self-reliant. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I've always wanted to go to California. So if I do a test shoot out there, they're not going to choose me. Why would they choose me? So I just sent in bikini photos. They emailed back and they're like, hey, we'd like to fly you out to LA to bring you out here. And I'm like, all right, didn't expect that. I remember sending photos, and then you had to send actual nude photos to the email address on the website. So I just self-timer camera, and I'm just like, so awkward. And then sent that in, and I was like, what if the email address is wrong? What if it's not legit? What if it's not them?
Fishing expedition.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. And then the next day I'm walking around school well, my career's over. And then I got an email back saying, oh, we'd like to fly you out to LA for a test shoot. And I was like, oh, thank God. So it's legit email. So I ended up flying out, doing the test shoot, staying at the mansion for a week. I met Hef, and he was so nice, such a gentleman. I met the other playmates that were already playmates. And then I flew back to Florida State, and I was like, all right, did my test shoot. They're not going to choose me. And they messaged me back 6 months later and being like, oh, you're approved for a centerfold. And so it happened that fast. And I'm like, okay, I'm a centerfold now. So from there, I was like, all right, I'm not going to do much in government work anymore. So
probably includes a little government.
Yeah.
Although under Donald Trump, though, he might oh, that's the perfect
right.
Be my right hand, be my assistant.
Not sure if I would go that route, but I ended up moving down to Miami and then doing studying acting there, and then looking for acting roles because I'm like, all right, modeling's cool, but that's
it's very
not
short.
me.
Also a shorter, right.
Yeah, there's not much longevity.
And you're also a smart girl, so I think that it's almost that's just so physical outward, right?
Yeah.
Were you a centerfold?
Yeah.
Playmate?
In 2011
Wow.
for October. But yeah, so I was 19 when I did it. And then I was like, all right, great. This gives me a platform. I can go to LA. I can find my management and agency. And then everybody was like, oh, you have to stick to these roles that were just putting me back to a stripper role in a movie or something. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
That. I'm like, that's not going to do anything for me. So I just would say no to those. They're like, well, you have to show us your reel. I'm like, well, how do I get the reel?
I get it, right.
So then going back to
and
now.
That's how it all started.
Yeah. So then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to prove I can do other things, and really focusing on comedy, on internet comedy, because for me, that's the best way to rebrand myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I first became a playmate, I was like, there wasn't really social media. I think I had 20,000 followers on Instagram, and which is a lot of people. But at the time, I'm just I didn't think of social media like that. And then when I started growing on Vine, that's what I used to rebrand myself, because everything was in my own voice. So I'm like, all right, minimize the sexy content,
Sure.
seed it here and there, but then just focus on, really just.
So it was very deliberate. You had a
Yeah.
strategy, right? You had this sort of outcome in mind, and you sort of backed into that strategy every day, doing what you had to do, right?
Yeah.
And how long did it take till you started ever say, wow, you know what? It's
Snowballing.
actually working. Was there
Yeah.
ever a moment where you're like, holy shit, like look, it actually worked. Did you have that aha moment, or just it just kept going and going? And you seem,
Yeah.
because here's why I ask, because you seem like the person, you're very driven. You are. You're very successful. I'm the same way, so I'm not saying it's a good thing, but you're very much of like forward thinking, and not that you're never satisfied, but I don't think you want to rest on your laurels, right? You're
Yeah.
always looking what's next, and it kind of drives you in some level. To
Hmm.
me, it makes me happy. Like when I'm at my happiest when I feel like I have this great idea.
Oh,
It's
same.
almost like before I get there,
Yeah.
I'm happy as I'm thinking of it and planning, and then okay,
Yeah.
it's fun to execute it, but it's like always like the what's next,
Yeah.
what's
You
next,
complete it and you're like, all right.
right?
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
next step, right? So what
Exactly.
was your point where you said, okay, well, I don't know. So what exactly happened with Vine? It just this what
It
happened?
got deleted. So on Vine, when it got deleted, I think I had like 4 or 4.5 million on
Why
that
did it get deleted though? What happened?
because so Instagram came out with Instagram video, which was 15 seconds long, and on Vine we had 6.5 seconds. And also Vine didn't really have, it was too late by the time they did this, but Vine didn't really have people for the creators to go to. They weren't really supporting the creators as much because it was such like a new fresh platform, and then Twitter took it over, so things started changing with the people internally, so there wasn't really time for them to have that direct communication with the creators that were really feeding the entire
Sure.
platform.
Yeah.
So give us a new platform that has even more reach than Vine,
Right.
Instagram, and that has 15-second video. Of course, we're going to go there now, minimizing the amount of time that we're producing content because time is everything, right?
Right.
So we're doing 15-second videos and then cutting it down to 6 seconds and throwing it on Vine.
Got it.
So it had the leftover content. So why wouldn't you just watch it on Instagram?
Sure.
And also, it's like platforms are launched with generations too. Like even with TikTok now, it's basically like Vine was. You smile because I know you're doing TikTok content. It's good though.
I
It's
texted you
smart.
last. I said, Amanda, I'm doing
Yeah.
a TikTok video. I don't know if you want to still speak to me anyway.
Yeah. No, I do TikTok too. I think you're so smart for doing it because it's a whole younger generation too that's on there, that you need those younger generations to know about you, to know about your brand, to continue your growth and have longevity.
Yeah.
So for me, when I was when we were on Vine ended up being deleted because they weren't supporting their creators as much as they should, or giving them incentive to create original content for the platform. And also it just like kind of died out with that generation too.
Interesting.
So Instagram kind of took over also. Like, they're like, all right, you get a minute now. All right, yeah. But it's still like short enough to be able to consume it really quickly on the platform that people are satisfied.
So when you say deleted, just vanished?
Yeah, all the profiles are deleted, all the videos are deleted. They were like, save your videos because all the content's going to be gone off the app. Who knows what they really did with it? Because there's IP in there and that's valuable for something, right?
Yeah. Something, anyway.
So maybe they're going to turn it into something else.
What's the lesson?
next
I
gen.
think there's a lesson here. Like from you as a creator of content, right? And you saw what Vine did wrong and what Instagram did right. What could you crystallize that into like just one thought? Like what was the big thing about? Was it they were more attuned to what the content creators want? What was it, you think?
I think it was just Instagram overseeing what was happening, being aware of what's going on around them, right? And seeing what's working and being like, all right, cool, let's watch that work. Let's see the gaps that they're missing. And let's take everything they did, what works, and just fill in those gaps and have an even better product than the other platforms.
So essentially, just constantly looking at the business model, seeing what's working, what's not, tweaking it, stopping what's not working, improving what is working, and scaling. It's basically that.
Yeah, but with that though, you do need a lot of power already to be able to do something like that. So I think Vine was smart in the sense. So if I'm thinking of myself as a business, right? I'm Vine. I'm like, all right, there's a need for short form video content of an organic platform with creators. So I'm going to build that easily and slowly and just let it organically grow because there's a need for that. So people are going to use it. It's a great product. So in developing that, they were successful too because they sold Vine to Twitter. So they were successful in building this platform and selling their products, and then selling their brand.
Right.
So they did a great job with that. But then,
Once Twitter took over.
Yeah, they had it there and they didn't do much with it, But who knows, maybe they just wanted it for their own IP and then they didn't really care about the platform.
All right, a word from our sponsor here, BetterHelp.com. Let me get a little more somber and serious. It's about mental health, guys. Nothing to joke around about. You know, I have been in my life, I've been full of anxiety. I've been depressed. I've seen psychiatrists, psychologists. I am a believer in mental health. And also, I know firsthand that the right person to speak to can make the difference between, I wouldn't say life or death, though sometimes it can be that severe, but mostly happiness and misery. And you deserve to be happy. I want you to check out this company, BetterHelp. They will assign you the right psychologist based on what you're feeling. And if you don't like the person, they'll replace them, but they can do it at a fraction of the cost. And rather than have to show up anywhere, it's done over the phone, by text even, by Skype. They've really taken what's probably one of the most important things, the delivery of mental health, and they've allowed it to be affordable to anybody, and they've made it convenient for you. And you also get a discount because you're on my podcast, because you'll almost be crazy if you listen to me anyway, right? Okay. So here's the deal. BetterHelp.com/wolf. Okay. They're going to give you another discount of 10% off on your first month. Check it out. Put the discount code in Wolf. BetterHelp.com. The lesson on some level is that, for someone that acquires a company, it's like you can't, it's like unless you're constantly watching it, and things move so fast now, right? Unless you're constantly aware of what's going on, you're basically going to get run over by someone else who is.
Yeah, and you need somebody that, whether you're running it or you just don't have the time to, I'm sure you have other things that you're doing and you just can't, there's no way you could physically be at everything and running everything day to day.
Right.
So it's just
delegating to the right people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the hardest thing to find, are the right people, I think. But when you find them, it's just like, worth the search.
So I think the biggest problem that people, or the mistake when they delegate, is everyone goes, yeah, you got to delegate authority. But the problem is that you can't delegate an inefficient system. Like I made this mistake myself, where you say, right, I want you to take over this. But if it's not already systemized and then optimized, and then you delegate, it's like you're asking someone who might not have the skill sets to achieve what you want. You almost set someone up for failure. So you have to delegate, but also as an entrepreneur, you have to make sure that it's the right person. Also that you are involved. It's a weird trade-off.
You're seeing this,
You have to be involved. And then once it's really systemized, optimized, then you can essentially step back and let it run and just supervise with getting reports back. Warren Buffett's got a great saying. He goes, when I buy a business, right? We love Warren, right?
Yeah.
Because when I buy a business, I want to make sure that the systems that they have in place are so simple, so easy to use that even an idiot can use them.
Turnkey.
Because sooner or later, one will.
Yeah, it's true.
You get it?
Yeah.
So a lot of these companies it's like, you have great people, they can run it, but then eventually someone else takes it over and boom, it's vined.
Yeah, exactly. Deleted, gone forever.
All right, so from there you jumped into Instagram, I read head first, right?
Yep. Well, yeah. So I started doing Instagram videos, and then Snapchat was new, and that came out, and then I always just saw social media as work, like business. I never really used it for friends. Like I just always used it to make content, because it's a global audience and you're reaching so many people. So I just thought of it as being able to build a global brand for myself.
Right.
And then from there, I could use that as, all right, I have all this marketing capabilities of an audience that fully supports me, and they truly do, because I'm providing them free content every single day. And, they understand my journey too. So
it's entertainment. You connect with your fans. It's authentic. It's not that. I think the big thing is the move away from the sexual exploitation stuff to more like a little bit of risque, but in a funny self, right?
It's just weaving, and it's like a lot of questions that girls have that come to me with too. They're just like, oh, like, I'm just known for my booty online. I'm like, well,
asset.
Yeah.
I was using
literally,
asset. Right?
Yeah. But it's just like, that's fine. You can still do that content, but just start adding in other things. So it's not just like, I'm not that anymore, I'm this now. It's like, that's not organic either.
Right.
Like you've been that for a long time, and there's other layers to you. Start showing the other layers to you. You have that, great, like you're blessed with that asset.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally.
But now just add other things to it, layer on it.
So in other words, the idea is what you I think the really clever thing that you did is you had something, right? So you had the sex appeal, but you were able able to take that and turn it into like sort of this comic but still risque, and that really, and also it connected with people. People felt like we went to the fights together, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that we both saw is that your fans really connect with you, and mine really connect with me. It's like really the different fans, which we were laughing about, right? But it's interesting. What do you think causes, obviously authentic, but what do you think is that your fans are so connected to you?
I think I show a lot of my process and my life too, so they feel like they're involved. Even though most of my stuff is scripted, I still allow them to have insight into my life and, what I'm going through. So there's a real connection there. It's not like, you can grow a fan base from the different characters and stuff that you do, and like the fact that you make people smile every day and hopefully laugh a little or just feel a little bit better. But, and I think the main importance, or the main thing that really like grabs people, is when they know more about you. They know like your layers. It's always going back to layers,
Give me
right?
an example like of that. What would be something that you do that personally, like versus this? So is the scripted stuff also sort of personal in a way that is it based around, or is it different? Is that stuff that you do? Some is scripted, some is just off the cuff personal. Why don't you explain?
Yeah, so some of the stuff, I do a lot of sketch comedy, and then I'll also do like little horror shorts, or I'll do like a little drama short. So it's just like a variety of content, because my audience knows that I love acting. So I just like now I'm doing like more produced content and just like really getting like a proper team to make high production value. But so for me, it's like for that scripted content, it's more just like creative storylines. But for the short bits, they're relatable stuff. So people can really like grab onto it and understand and be like, like that's me too. They relate to me through my content. So that's helpful too. And then also I'll show like through my Instagram stories and my Snapchat stories.
Like we're at the fight, and you say, "Hey, it's like this is like you're narrating and stuff, just letting them into your life."
Yeah, and then also talking direct to camera, even with live streams and stuff. Just really just communicating and having that interaction and engagement with my audience. So I'm giving them my time too, hearing them out, responding to their questions, and really building that connection with the community that's around me. I think so important.
I want to just ask you one more question before I really want to jump into the entrepreneurship side, because I look at you as honestly as someone that I think really gets the entrepreneurial aspect of how you turn this into a real business and grow a brand. One more question that I think everyone, and I really want to know this answer. This whole thing about the algorithm, playing the algorithm. Now, I know it's always changing, right? But what do you think? Give me like sort of like the older algorithm. And then, like in the last, when did did it change recently or something, or it's always changed? Like, is there any one big shift? I remember wasn't there like one big shift in the last year or so where?
Yeah, it got a lot more harder to crack, I guess. But so with that,
fucking computers get smarter and smarter. Yeah,
so smart.
I know. Well, together I think we could.
Let's
I'm pretty
break
smart.
it.
Yeah.
Collaborations are the best way to grow
Right, I
too.
know, yeah.
Honestly, like out of anything you could ever do, collaborate, because whether it's with your business, whether it's with influencers or like entertainers, like collaboration.
Right. So what was tell me the old algorithm as best you can explain it, and then the shift, and then what's the best way to take advantage of in a positive way to build your brand using the new one?
Yeah, so old algorithm gave you access to a lot more of your audience. So any post that you would do, you would reach a higher percentage of the audience that actually followed you, and you had a lot more likelihood to reach the what's the page called? Discover page, which it used to be called, or Explore page. So then you have more reach to newer audiences that don't yet know about you. So if your post is performing really well, you were more likely to reach the Explore page, which reached more people. So you had a lot more room for growth that way. That's why growing on different platforms that have already been around for a while is a lot more difficult, because there's already so much content out there that you're competing against every single day. I don't know the numbers that are uploaded, but we can only imagine, right?
Yeah, it's massive.
And
growing.
Yeah, which great for the platforms, but makes it harder for newer people coming on, or newer brands. So that's why, you always hear it's great to really jump on the new platforms. Like TikTok's still fairly new. It's great though. It's smart because you're able to reach so much more of an audience, and reach the explore pages, be the number one that you see on a hashtag. And there's a lot of content being uploaded there. But if you're getting views, like the way a lot of these algorithms work, with TikTok, I noticed it seems like, and I don't know for sure because I'm not behind the scenes.
Right,
I'm not,
yeah, sure.
It's only by what you
Sure.
see and what you witness. But for me, it's all right. If I'm getting a lot of views all at once and comments, like great engagement, TikTok sees that as a post that's doing well and it's great content. So other audiences should see it. So, but with Instagram, it's more of like what your audience is liking most and commenting on. So if your specific audience isn't engaging as much, then you're not going to reach a new audience. But TikTok still gives you ability to reach new audience. So it sounds confusing, but it makes sense. So I'm just like, all right, on Instagram, I need to create content that my audience there loves, which is great. It makes sense. It's what you should be doing anyway. But it's a little frustrating because you're not reaching that new audience that gives you growth. So with newer brands, I would say it's so important just to be on the really new platforms because you could post something and then go viral all of a sudden. Really good luck with that with Instagram. Like on these newer platforms, it's just, I feel like it's, you hop on a trend or a hashtag that people are using. It's all about the trends on TikTok, like the different hashtags that are going on at the time. And you can even just go on the page and just see the hashtags. And then you create content according to that hashtag and you're going to get reach and people are going to discover, your videos or your profile. And also, the algorithm always supports organic content, no matter what platform it is, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, stuff that's organic, doesn't come across as too branded or, that you're just solely promoting like a mug on it, It just still needs to be entertaining content. So even when I do brand deals on my platforms, I always make sure I'm, as much as the brand allows me, and I really demand this, and they're smart for accepting this, is me being able to put it in my own voice, of course, but still make entertaining content. So me doing a bit and including the brand in the bit where people are still getting education about the brand, but appreciating the brand for the entertainment they provided.
Got it. Right. Not just saying, I represent this.
Yeah, no, yeah. And that's not going to, your audience isn't going to appreciate you for doing that. They're not going to appreciate the brand for doing that.
Sure.
It's not successful for anybody just doing things that way. But if brands demand it to be done, they're just missing out a lot.
Right.
But
so the brand should essentially be weaved into the skit of the story
Yeah.
and just be prominent there, even mentioned, but not because like I'm sponsoring this brand. That's just
Yeah.
like people that hate that stuff, right?
But it can also be it doesn't have to just be product placement. It can also be to where the whole thing is about the brand, but in just really entertaining way. Like I did
Give me an
this-
example. Yeah, give me a good example. Yeah.
I did this brand deal with what was it? Was it with Bite? Yeah, I did it with Bite Beauty.
Okay.
And when we did it, I was already staying at the Four Seasons, and I was like, this is a great place for me to shoot at. So I used
Right.
all the different like visually appealing locations, and I shot this whole storyline about me talking about the products with the exact talking point that they gave me, but then scripting it how I wanted it to add a comedic value after every point is made.
Right.
So, I'm in the bathroom scrubbing my lips with the lip scrub, and then I forget what it was. I'm trying to remember my own content. And then I added Johannes in there, my boyfriend,
Right.
just as like comedic value for some line exchanged in between that moment of me
Right.
saying how great it is, talking direct to camera, and then a comedic moment into the next scene. So it's just like quick,
Got it.
entertaining, but you're still knowing about the brand.
Right.
But back to algorithms,
Yeah.
like you can never really fully hack an algorithm, but you can. Like there was moments, and it's by luck,
Sure.
We noticed, and I say we, just like top creators,
Right.
noticed that a hash or location tag of like Singapore gave us more reach when we put it on our photos. So we would all use the location Singapore. For some reason, it was like a glitch in the algorithm that we're like, we're getting like 100% reach right now.
No.
So we're all tagging Singapore, and eventually they
They
you
closed
catch,
it, right.
yeah, and they close it off. But we took advantage of the algorithm in that moment.
That's weird.
It's so bizarre. Like, it's just, but it's significantly different when you use the location. So
Is there still some benefit to using the location or no?
I think so. Well, the reason why I say yeah is because when I was looking for a nail artist and I was in Miami, and I would look at Miami location tags for the hashtag for nail artists, and then I was able to discover people that way. So I think it is
Okay.
valuable, especially for businesses,
Right.
that people are looking for services, or people are looking even just for growth for people in their area. I think it's helpful. It's better than using nothing, because it's just like an added element where people can discover you.
Right.
So I don't think it hurts. But and then hashtags are great. Overdoing them, not so great. Like, I'll look at different hashtags, especially on different platforms. It depends, And YouTube's different than Facebook. Facebook's different than Instagram, different than TikTok, different than Twitter, different than Snapchat. And I kind of use them all for different things, but and it all depends, because I have different audiences and some of them cross over on different platforms. But people use different platforms for different types of content, and you really just have to understand what the culture of that platform
Right.
is, and then go into that culture and create organic content to you within that culture.
So the things that you put on? So you have a massive YouTube following too, right? Mm-hmm. How big is your YouTube?
I have 5 million on YouTube.
5 million.
And yeah, 2 different channels.
So is it the same content or then shorter on a different platform, or completely different content?
Longer. It's a little bit longer, but it's
I mean, is it longer on long?
Yeah.
I know, but is that?
Yeah.
Do you take something that's long on YouTube, then chop it down, put the same thing on a shortened version on Instagram? Is that what you do, or a different?
you can, just to have extra content. Content's king, so
Right.
it doesn't hurt. But for me, if I do that, it's more so to promote the overall video on YouTube.
Got it.
But now I do IGTV as well, which is longer form content.
Mm-hmm.
So where people can consume it, they can watch a minute on your preview, which if you're doing IGTV content, is still within Instagram. It's a separate app. But once you're watching a preview for a minute that's on your timeline, you can put that on IG. And then once you reach that minute mark, then you go to IGTV. It automatically gives the user an option to continue watching, which then brings them to IGTV and to consume the content there. And if I'm doing video content, I try to make it IGTV content, because I can foresee that Instagram really wants IGTV to do well.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Intuitively, it's like, all right, they're going to be pushing that algorithm for IGTV more. So let me make more IGTV content, understanding that they want to monetize it, I'm sure, in the future, similar to how YouTube does it and Facebook does it with CPMs. So let me do the IGTV content.
Right.
And then I also get a timeline post, so I'm getting more reach for my content. And then if I also have a YouTube video and I solely want people to go there, then I will just say click link in bio. But I noticed with the algorithm that if more people are clicking out onto your link in your bio, that it really slows down that post, because you're bringing people off the platform.
Right.
So it's just like, it's
So
almost
that's what I would think, right?
Yeah.
So they want people to stay on, so they can then sell an ad to someone, right? So anytime you bring
Yeah.
someone off the platform, I would assume
Yeah.
it reduces reach, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's smart. If I was a branded I would do
too,
the
right? Of
same.
course,
but
yeah.
but then again, it could backfire, because people use that to build an audience that they can sell and market to.
Right. Yeah. What do you think about mixing in like boosted paid advertising?
Oh yeah, do it. I mean, I don't do it for myself, for my organic content, but if a brand is doing branded content with me, I tell them to always, put paid marketing behind it, push it, because that's what's going to get you reach to your exact demographic that you want, and you can really target audiences that way. If you want 18 to 24, if you want all female, then push that out even more to that specific audience, and that's going to give more reach. But wait until that post has its organic reach already, and then boost it, because you're going to get way more reach out of your paid advertising.
Tell me about live streaming. How about that? Is that an
Yeah.
important aspect of the whole thing?
I think every single social media tool is an important aspect of everything. Like, you should be on literally everything. So, and if you're not, you're just missing out on an opportunity, and you never know what's going to hit. You never know what platform's going to hit. So it's almost just like rolling your dice by putting content everywhere, and you see which platform's the most successful for you, and then really feed that platform, but still don't forget about the other platforms, because they could be deleted too. So you never know.
Do you have in your mind, do you look at the platforms in an order of importance? Like you say, okay, I want my long game is to focus on YouTube, and then after that, Instagram, or you don't look at it that way? Or is it like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Is there highest priority for you, or?
Yeah, I would say Instagram's a huge priority for me, because I'm really excited about the monetization that they're going to eventually add in. But then also YouTube's an OG. They've been around for like ever on YouTube. So of course I'm going to make content for there, because I can immediately monetize it. So in Instagram, I'm really just building my marketing platform. And I'm also at the same time, what's really interesting for me right now is to own my own audience. So I don't have to rely on all these social media platforms.
Explain.
So it's more so getting the emails, getting the phone numbers, getting those contacts.
See, I have that already. Yeah, that's because I started off that way.
It's the best.
With my own massive email database, people that have either watched stuff, bought stuff. So that's sort of what that was the first thing I did. Yeah, and then I completely neglected my social media.
Yeah, well, you need both, right?
I know. I
you
totally.
Need to reach
I
the new...
I did. I screwed up. I admit it.
You've done amazing. Like
in
I don't
my
need to
domain,
talk
I
about
have.
you.
No, I've done amazing in my domain, but my son had been telling me for so long, you gotta start doing. I'm like, I don't know about that. I hate doing it. It's the decay of Western civilization, you know what I'm saying? But it actually, I'm actually enjoying Instagram.
Yeah.
I think it's fun, actually. I'm finding it fun now for the first time. You know what I'm saying?
You can be creative.
Exactly, right?
And just play with it and see what works, what doesn't work. It's not going to, unless you're doing something really bad, it's not going to hurt your career if like nobody, and people are so afraid of that too. They're like, I don't want to post because it's only going to get like 10 views and no likes and it's embarrassing. I embarrass myself so much online that it's so worth it though, because if it's something you truly believe in and you're just not doing just because everybody else is doing it, you're really going to be passionate about it, and there's longevity in that, and you can continue to be creative. Post it, put it out there. If it gets 10 views, who cares? Like, it's something that you created that you love. Ignore the comments, because there's haters everywhere, you know, whatever.
I kind of like the haters a little bit.
They're great.
I love the haters. I'm like, come on, keep hating me, because if they hate me, the fans like, screw you. They argue with more engagement. Like, every time you hate me, great. You just made me $10. Thank you. Use $10 bill on that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's, hey, as long as you're viewing my content, whatever.
Hate on, right?
And they'll convert eventually. Right. Like, maybe they just had a bad day and they're venting on your platform. Like, almost feel bad for them.
You wear them down, right?
Yeah.
With positivity.
Yeah.
That's what I did in the beginning. I had a lot of haters back in the beginning. Then all of a sudden, wow, I really haven't many haters anymore. It's like
everybody has a lot of haters, especially in the beginning. And then as you start to grow, it starts, people appreciate your hard work. They see your path. And then they're like, I supported them since day one.
100%, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's switch over now to the side that intrigues me most about you. And that is that I look at you as a really successful entrepreneur.
Thank you.
Right? No, I really do. Mm-hmm. And that's why we're going to actually do a tour together in colleges, which is going to be so much fun.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for that.
That's going to be amazing, right?
Great idea, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have to. It was sort of I can't take full credit for it. It was a combination of myself, my son, and William Morris.
Yeah.
And they came to me with this idea, and then this like YouTube show with the Shark Tank.
Yeah.
And the reason I thought of you, here's what I did, because it started when I saw you on stage. Mm-hmm. Now I met you. The first I met you were so young. And you were at Brett's house, right?
Yeah.
A zillion years ago. And I thought you were like 12 back then, okay? Yeah. And it wasn't that long ago, but you were like, wow. She's like, I didn't really get it back then, the whole thing. So, he introduced me to you. And then I saw you on stage like 2 weeks ago, maybe, right? Mm-hmm. And you were on a panel.
Yes.
And I was like, damn. I was like, this girl really grew. I was like, I feel like she grew up like you were really a sharp entrepreneur.
Thank you.
And when I asked a few people about it, like, she kind of broke out from the pack. In other words, it was all these girls, tits, ass, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
But you were able to completely separate yourself to the point where it's finding the 14-year-old boys at the fight.
Yeah, I know. Coming up.
As you said, these are my fans, my 14-year-olds. And you were so sweet to every single one of them. You
Yeah.
really were, and genuinely so. Like, and I think that's really nice.
Well, I don't understand why anybody wouldn't be.
I am too, but I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
yeah, you're the same
No, I
way.
know, but I was really so much that I actually felt bad because there's one video of us where I interrupted
Yeah.
you and you were like, you were talking to these two girls I didn't realize, and I was posting, and you're like,
Oh,
oh, I was
no.
talking to my little girls are so cute behind, so like 13 and 14.
They were-
But you spent like 10 minutes with those girls just talking to them.
They're so cute.
I know.
But you shouldn't feel bad. No, we were
I know. I didn't
doing, it
realize-
was a fight night too, which 2 little girls were at too.
What do you find? What do you? So tell me. Let's before we go on to the full entrepreneurship discussion, which I'm looking forward to. Tell me about the fight. What do you think? I look at it this way.
Yeah.
I don't care that he lost, Logan. Doesn't matter,
He still
right?
won.
He still won.
Yeah.
He filled up the Staples Center.
Yeah.
And to me, he had the balls to actually do that, to
Right.
actually go and put himself out there like that, right? Maybe he didn't have the best night fighting. For people that know him, said he had an off night. All right, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But one thing I like about Logan is that, he's made mistakes. He's swallowed his pride. He's come back, and he's constantly reinventing himself. And I think on some level, we were always trying to not necessarily reinvent ourselves, but take what's happening, make the best version of that, and plow on,
Right. No, that's the best way to go through life. Like, I'm so much better than I was 10 years ago for sure. I know a lot more every single year. I learn a lot and things that I would never do again that I'm just like, all right, cool. Like, but still, that's a part of my history. I've learned a lot from it. It's totally worth doing and keep going and growing from that. Like, we've all made mistakes, right? And
Obviously.
yeah, yeah.
No, seriously.
Well,
Some
I
bigger than
mean,
others,
yeah.
but the bigger the reach, the bigger the mistake, and the more
Yeah.
you learn from it, right?
Honestly, like the bigger mistakes that you do make, exactly that, because you have to grow so much so quickly
Right.
from that mistake, and it's all projected right in front of you. Especially if you're in the public eye already, it's all just laid out right there of just how horrible or what you did, or that you have to just accept it. And either you could fight against it and stay in your corner and be like,
Right.
no, I'm great, or you can just accept I made a mistake.
Right.
I get it. Now I have to prove myself again.
Exactly, right. And
So
it takes time sometimes.
Yeah.
You got to keep plowing forward and plowing forward. One of the things I always say, one of my famous quotes, is that we are not the mistakes of our past. We're the resources and capabilities we glean from our past mistakes.
Yep.
Like when you make a mistake, it actually makes you stronger. You
Yeah.
learn from that if you don't dwell in the mistake and become the mistake. And a lot of
Right.
people do that,
Yeah, that's exactly true. I'd rather be around people that have made really large mistakes.
Because they learn from them.
Yeah, and they're still working, they're still doing things, they're still growing. Like they're almost like stronger beings in that sense of just like being experienced, right?
100%.
Like even when I was in college, I crammed 4 exams, I studied and I did great on them. I'm like, all right, cool. When I got out of college, I'm like, I still don't know as much as I need to know for life. And I've learned through experience for everything I've ever done. I've taught myself how to write. I've taught myself how to direct. I'm doing a lot of mistakes along the way. And now I'm really good at it. Now I'm doing things and I'm so much stronger as a person through my experiences and the situations that I put myself in unknowing and making those mistakes. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Do you ever, in terms of the quite with the playmate stuff, do you look back at that and say, I wish I wouldn't have, or glad I did it?
I'm glad I did it. It's what got. First off, it was something I was super proud of, especially at the time. I was like, awesome, a moment in history. Check it off. I'm at 2 days at the gym. This is awesome.
I think it's awesome, personally. I was wondering how you felt about it, yeah.
Well, I still, what made me feel less awesome about it was when I came to LA to pursue acting and I wasn't able to get brand deals. I wasn't able because I was a playmate. I remember I was so far along in the process, especially when I grew a following on Vine and my audience began to know me as something else
Sure.
and didn't even know I was a playmate until they Googled me later on. So when I was at that stage, I was getting these offers from these big beauty companies and one specific. And then when I was talking with them and doing the interview, they're like, we love you. You're so perfect. And about to do a massive campaign with them.
What?
And they were going forward with it. They were sending the contract and everything. And then they came back, oh, we just found out you were a playmate in 2011. We can't do the deal with you. I'm like, really? And
I
I'm
suffer
like,
from that my own thing.
Yeah.
My people would get fun and say, "Oh, you did this back 10 years." I'm like,
yeah.
really?
Yeah, but at that point, it's like, all right, whatever. Don't dwell on that. They're lost.
And I'm
I'm
sure
sure.
they're really sorry right now
Yeah.
they didn't do it.
Yes. And now, and I was able to do really cool things like after that and just building on my brand of like I did guest campaigns and did stuff with them. I've worked with Fortune 500
Sure.
brands now, and
Yeah.
it's just, but I don't think they were wrong fully for that, especially at that time, because I did grow a following and they have to look out for their brand.
Right.
I get
Got
it.
I think part of it's also that in the beginning, I found this when I first was making my comeback. All right, so I did these things, and I'm saying, but wait, I've learned my lesson. I'm doing it right. Like, prove it to us.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing the right thing? And I noticed that, like, a lot of my naysayers and detractors in the press as well, it was like a point, like, wow, it's been like 5 or 6 years now. It's
Yeah.
actually, if you actually continue to act like that's who you become eventually, right? There's in the beginning, they probably had a right to look at it and say, I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe she'll do something else again to embarrass the brand. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll do something. But then they say,
Yeah.
wow, and she's actually authentic and real. And I think that's the perfect point to cross over now to this. So that's what intrigues me is that you're an entrepreneur. What was the First of all, do you consider yourself an entrepreneur, right?
Yep, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm even consulting with different businesses and showing them how to grow their platforms online, showing them different ways to, because the mistake a lot of people make is just trying to replicate the content that they see being successful online, and then they just become another like drop in the noise of social media.
Right.
And there's no,
And there's a lot of freaking noise.
yeah, there is. There's a ton now.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to have a social media following, whether you're an actor, whether you're a business, and it's smart. You should want one, but it's also important to have your own voice too, and that's what's going to make you stand out. But for me, in growing, I went to school for business, and I've always wanted to just do more in business. I saw,
If not the CIA.
yeah, if not the CIA.
That's why it surprised you. Your first thing you said, well, I think maybe I'll work for the CIA. I'm like,
Well, my mom owns a karate school, and she said,
wait. Wait, your mother owns a karate.
Yeah.
She's a black belt. Right?
Yeah, she's been doing it her whole life. We used to live in Connecticut, my two sisters and I think it's a great thing for kids to do too, by the way.
Are you a black belt?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a black belt in Taekwondo and karate. So when, but then I did it until I was like 14, and then we moved to Florida, and I was like, all right, I'm doing track and cross country. I'm running now. But my mom's been doing it. She's amazing. She's an entrepreneur. She's built her whole business. She's so incredible, so
So
positive.
you get it from your mom. So it's a
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
thing. Did a guy ever try to come on to you and you so bam?
Just knock, pressure point?
Yeah. Did it ever happen to you or something like that?
Luckily, not yet. I don't want to knock on wood.
Right.
But
Guys,
Yeah.
now don't fuck with Amanda. 'Cause
Yeah.
She will mock
Jordan
you.
has my back.
Yeah, she will knock you out if I know. Yeah. Oh my God, that's really funny.
But I just saw how much freedom being an entrepreneur gives you too,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to be in control of what I want to do and what I have to do. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
have to do things just to make money. I want to be able to do things because I'm excited
Sure.
about it. And making money is fun. It's like, it's always been, I save so much. Like, it's always like a fun game. I like numbers. It's great. And I loved math growing up too. So it's always just a fun thing for me. But it's almost like a Monopoly game, right? You're just like playing it and you're growing it and it's awesome. But I want to have that freedom of, even in acting, having that business side also allows me to have freedom in the roles that I choose for acting. Like, I don't have to take everything that people
Right, I
email
get
me
it.
and
Yeah,
send me
yeah.
my way.
Sure.
So,
Let's talk about like the rules of being an entrepreneur, right? So I have my own take on it, right? And I've been at it a long time. And so what I say, the big picture for me is like there's really two things that you have to be able to do as an entrepreneur. Number one is you need to learn how to fail elegantly. In other words, how do you be wrong as an entrepreneur? How do you test an idea? And the reason I know this is because I failed miserably the first time I was an entrepreneur. I was very young, and I went into business, made all the mistakes that young business owners make, and I got destroyed. And I didn't understand that you have to learn to test ideas and test quickly, test cheaply, maximize on the lessons. What do you think about that?
I think you could talk most on that part for sure. But I totally agree. It's not just immediately putting all your eggs in one basket and just launching and just hoping for the best. It's not, you don't want to have luck with everything that you're doing. I think it's having an idea that you truly believe in, or a product or a service that the market needs. And then you decide, okay, I'm going to supply this, but I'm going to launch it, seed it in a small way first, and then get that feedback, see how it does. And if it does great, scale it larger, So it's just like kind of like niching it down and then launching it. But hey, if it's something you're truly passionate about and you're all in for,
Right.
go for it. If it's
Right.
like a no-brainer, you know?
So that's one side's failing elegantly, and the other side's succeeding wildly. Meaning, what do you do when it works? Like when you test an idea and you get a great early read, how do you scale? How do you take a small idea or business and turn it into a big business, add a zero onto income, delegate, all those things? They're very different skills. I think that these skills that you need, like you need to have both, but like failing elegantly, that's a very different type of mindset than succeeding wildly. It's like, how do you go
Yeah.
from being testing conservatively, then growing wildly, right?
Yeah. For me, in my position, I would say it's, once I see that product is great, then that's when I'll use my resources more and my contacts more to really scale that product or scale whatever it is,
Sure.
And then I'll fully do that out because I spent a long time building my network too, and my credibility and my reputation that, yeah, if you fail on something, that's okay.
Right.
But if you're just like preaching and pulling connections for everything and just like going all for it, you better make that a success because it's not, for me, I always just think it's not just me on the line anymore.
You're
This
bringing
is,
down other people connected to you.
yeah, and which is and that weighs even harder than just you, and I get that. So I always say test and then go for it. If it's something that you just truly believe in, to scale a business, you need social media for any business that you're doing. You need online marketing. You need that. If you're just focusing on traditional marketing, good luck. You could still have some success, but not what you could get through online marketing, and making sure that you have a global brand because you're reaching a global audience. So why not have a brand that, takes advantage of all that, and really looking at who your audience is and communicating with your audience as well, and making sure that they're building that product. Whenever I launch something, I always communicate with my audience first and get their feedback. I'm lucky. Not lucky, I worked hard for it, but
I know, but
I have a big audience now that I can get
you're
that
lucky now
feedback.
because of all the hard work you did.
Yeah, right. That's how it works. But so I'm able to get that feedback and build a product that my fans are now invested in as well. So they want it to succeed. They're a part of it, and I'm able to launch a product that way too. But it's also just taking advantage of these different markets. These different platforms allow you to reach so many different audiences for cheap compared to traditional prices.
Right.
And you can target too. So it's just like target marketing is so valuable, especially on platforms like Facebook, where it's still underpriced compared to what traditional marketing is.
How do you approach Facebook versus Instagram? Do you handle them differently?
I'm more free-spirited about Facebook. I don't care as much. Like Instagram, I'm more strategic. Facebook, I'll post something up. I'm like, cool, if it does well, that's great. Some people have built their entire brands off Facebook, though, and I think it's great for allowing people to know about your business, especially for local businesses. I think it's great. And that way you can really target the demographics for that. But it's also, I see it as older fan base too. So with that, it's like, all right, if I have content that fits that fan base more, that's like an older audience. Like if I make something for a younger audience or TikTok, I'm not going to put it on Facebook, It's just like I'm really thinking about what my following is on that platforms. But I see a lot of people being successful with the viral content that goes on there is usually prank content.
Right. What are your thoughts on that? You never went down that route, right?
No, I just don't. I wouldn't have fun doing it, you know. And it almost stresses me out because I feel people's energy a lot, and if somebody's upset, I'm like, I want to help them. So it's like I'm the worst for that role, But it is entertaining. I see why people do it. It just wouldn't satisfy me.
Yeah. I think also it doesn't have the longevity. I think you don't get taken seriously as much, right? In terms of when you're doing that stuff, it's like, I don't know. It doesn't seem to require this. I wouldn't say talent because I don't want to demean what anyone does, but there's certain to capture. It's not easy to do what you actually do. You in 15, 30, whatever it is. You know, you're
Yeah.
actually. I watched some of your stuff over in the last 2 days, and it's really fucking funny.
Thank you.
Some of it's pretty
Yeah.
funny. I mean, like you make fun of yourself in a hysterical way, like when you're doing a funny dance with your friend. It's
Yeah.
always like a little on the comic side, right?
Yeah, leans. Yeah.
It leads to the comic, right?
Yeah, because people, I mean, if
Wanna
I'm
laugh,
doing,
right?
yeah, if they're doing serious stuff their entire day, it's nice to go on a platform where you could just like get out of your own world for a
Right.
second. That's how I see it. That's why, honestly, I started in comedy because I'm not a comedian, but I like to write scripts that are funny, you know, and then people can relate to. I say could never, but you never know if I committed. Who knows, you know? But I don't do stand up. I'm like that. Respect to all the comedians out there, but for me, I want to act. So I put
Right.
myself in scripts that people would tag their friends in
Sure.
because it's relatable content, and they could be like, "Yeah, that's you," and that gives me more growth as well because I'm creating content that's shareable.
Got it.
So.
What's your goal? Or this is more important, your vision for your future here. Like Amanda Cerny, right now I think you're in a really great spot because you're taken very seriously by people. But I knowing you, and now that I really know you better, I know you're always forward thinking, right? You have a kind of you're a planner type, right?
Yeah, I'm so type A.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. So where do you see yourself in, let's say, 5 years from now?
Well, I planned, but I'm also like very spontaneous. So I would say it's continued growth in every vertical. So I'm focusing on, I'm doing stuff in fashion. I'm doing stuff which is all like in the vertical, I guess, of entrepreneurship. Doing things here and there in modeling. I don't see myself as a traditional model by any means, but I'm like, there's
I
different
think
things
you're
I
more
could do there.
relatable than a model. I mean, because you're not 6 feet tall.
No.
No,
Yeah.
you're like a regular, very pretty person. I think people can You're more
Thanks.
relatable. I think, right? You're much more. I see you as the actresses, obviously. In fact, with
Yeah.
making the Wolf of Wall Street into a TV series, and I'm gonna be putting you up front, so you to the
Yay.
guy. No, seriously,
Awesome.
you'd be great for it. It's the
Perform.
perfect. Yeah, no, it's great. And do that next year. But in terms of like your own future, like, do you wanna? Is it acting, and then, but also like, do you ever see yourself doing like for instance, like what Jessica Alba did, or Gwyneth Paltrow? They really got into this whole idea of running a business, and they started something. Is that something that would intrigue you?
For sure. That's what I'm working on now. You know,
Right.
really just building that empire of a brand that's a household brand, or even just, yeah, that whole, I mean, Jessica Alba with the Honest Company is incredible. She had amazing partners in it as well. Like, she was very strategic with that.
Yeah.
It's not easy to build a $1 billion company.
No, it's
like,
not.
you
It's
know,
not.
so it's, yeah.
I did it
I'm
with
like,
Steve Madden's shoes in the beginning, and it took us many. We started Steve Madden in 1989. It took a lot. I mean, it took a lot of work to really. And also, I think with Jessica Alba, interesting. She's a smart girl. Even someone
Right.
you remind me of. She's very intelligent. She's not
Thank
just
you.
a pretty
It's a
face.
huge compliment. Yeah.
And what about Gwyneth Paltrow? What she does, like with a goop thing?
Yeah, but I think she's a great example of, you know, goals, right? Because she does all of that, but she's still an incredible actress as well. She does so many different things and does them all really well. And that's what I think is so exciting about today's world. The world that we're in now is nobody's really put into a bucket anymore.
I agree.
People,
Box, yeah, you can really go out, and I think that's what's interesting is that you can sort of test things a lot. You can like sort of do things and put it out there and get
Yeah.
responses. It used to be really much more difficult unless you had like I think it used to be you needed an agent, a manager, the whole
Yeah.
9 yards, or else you just like you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And on some level, I think I met with my manager agent. He's a friend of mine, right, for the movie stuff, and he was talking about what it was like. We're talking about the Me Too movement in the 90s. I said, was it really bad back? He goes, it was freaking awful. Like in the 90s for girls, because they had no power. And he goes, it was pretty bad back then.
Yeah.
And it's,
I can only imagine, because even before the Me Too movement, you see a strong shift in how people act in meetings when they conduct meetings and stuff. Even with female, like even for me, like it's not anything I would ever like come forward with things,
we
but it's
just beat
still
the shit out of them. If
yeah,
they,
exactly.
if
Pressure
boom,
points,
wah,
yeah,
wah,
and onward.
sidekick,
You know?
there you go, right?
Yeah, but it did have a positive impact, and it was there was a bit of a witch hunt to
And
yeah.
of course, right now,
Yeah.
you know, I've made my feelings very public. I believe it's a good thing, but it went too far in some cases.
Yeah,
right.
for-
That's with everything. It's
Totally.
always like with McCarthyism and the sick, right? It's
Yeah.
just, you know, it's
There's
gonna
negative side effects to it, but
Right,
overall,
it has to happen. Yeah,
positive.
overall, it had going
Yeah.
in the right direction.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. We're gonna do now. We stop now. We're gonna end the video portion. We're gonna do another 10 minutes on audio. But guys, wow, what a inspiration! Great podcast. Now we're gonna go to either Spotify, iTunes, wherever you watch your podcast. So we're gonna keep going now. Now we're gonna get to the personal stuff. Here. Ask me any burning question you have. Ask me, and I'll answer it.
Well, I could.
Nothing's off limits.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Well,
Oh boy.
well, I don't want to ask you something that you get asked all the time.